Let me start with LeBron going over 50,000 career points. We knew it was going to happen. He was at 49,999. Wasn't a lot of drama there other than how was he going to get it? Was it going to be a dunk, a layup, a free throw, or three-point shot, which is what it was. And you start to look at these numbers. And I don't want to dive into the Mike versus LeBron. I don't. We won't. But he is going to be statistically the most decorated player in the history of the sport. And it's not even going to be close. 50,000 points, regular season, postseason combined, and he's still one of the top 10 players in the game. Truly remarkable. And I started to wonder, because last year, I remember there were reports, speculation. He's starting to slow down a little bit. I feel like the Luka trade revitalized him. I think he gets into this, hey, that guy might be a future Hall of Famer. He might be one of the top 5 players in the game. I want to prove to him on a nightly basis I can be great as well. I can continue to be great. And I'm not saying they're competing with each other. It's complementing each other. And LeBron is so bright at being able to find, what do I need to do to make you better? Because he came into the sport that way. He was a pass-first guy. Remember? Afraid to take the shot. He won't take the big shot. Well, if you saw him in high school, the biggest guy on the floor was the best passer. And he loved to pass. And even in the NBA, I think, you look at when he played against Sacramento when he first started out, makes a great pass to start his career because that's what he thought. That's what you need to do. I think he was more Magic than Michael, even though everybody wanted to emulate Michael. But I see LeBron more as Magic than I do Michael. And he continues to do it. And last night, they win again. Now, granted, they're beating the Pelicans. It goes back to defense for me. I'm not worried about the offense because of Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves. And maybe, Dalton Connect will be able to be a little bit more of a scorer, come postseason time. I'm worried about defense. Now, they let Zion Williamson have his way in the paint. And that's something that the Lakers have been really good at preventing, points in the paint. They're letting you shoot the three. They want to make sure that you don't take advantage of them inside because they're undersized in the paint. But Zion Williamson has played really well since January. Now, I know you're going to go, well, that's not exactly a large sample size. And you're right. But he has played really well. And more importantly, not missing games. This is going to be this offseason is going to be tricky, I think, for the Pelicans. Like, what are you doing with your franchise? What do you want to do with your franchise? Can you luck into Cooper Flagg and change your franchise? Is Zion your franchise? Brandon Ingram wasn't their franchise. So you're trying to figure that out. But I'm watching, and I'm going, Zion is doing whatever he wants to do. And he's undersized, but he's so powerful inside. And the Lakers didn't have an answer. But Pelicans didn't have an answer for Luka and LeBron. So LeBron is the first of 50,000 career points. We tend to look at numbers and we go, nobody will ever break that. Well, I remember when Gretzky set the all-time goal-scoring record, and we all said, nobody's going to top that. And here we are. Alex Ovechkin is going to top that. Emmitt Smith, all-time rushing record. Nobody's going to top that. 18,000, almost 19,000, just because running backs trying to stay around, although maybe a resurgence on running backs getting more carries now with Saquon Barkley, who just got a 2-year contract extension. But you got to be healthy. Like Frank Gore was just there and ended up with, 15,000. Oh, by the way, 15,000 rushing yards. But you can't remember one of his runs, but he just sort of stayed healthy, stayed in the lineup, and he was on a variety of teams. Emmitt's rushing record is not going to be broken. LeBron's scoring record. Even though scoring is up, you still have to be great for over 20 years. And that's the tricky part. Can you stay healthy? Can you stay great for 20 years? And LeBron has done that and then some. Jerry Rice, 200 touchdowns. The number of catches, Probably not going to be broken. Seton, do you have a list of unbreakable records, or at least what we think is unbreakable?
Yeah, this list is current at least until I don't know, about a year ago or so.
Okay.
Right? You mentioned Emmett, over 18,000 rushing yards. The next closest is Derrick Henry, and he's at about 50% of that. Wilt Chamberlain averaging 50.4 points per game in a single season.
Yeah.
Nobody's really even close to that. The closest I could see here is James Harden at 36.1. That's
Do you
probably
know
not happening.
that when Wilt scored 100 points, and we just had the anniversary, that was March 2nd, that week, I think he played 4 games in 5 days, and I think he scored 60 or more points in 4 of the games and scored 100 in the other game. I mean, imagine that week for Wilt Chamberlain. Okay, back to you, Seton.
Let's see. Wayne Gretzky, 1,963 career assists. At least at the time of this, the active leader was Sidney Crosby, and he had 972.
Yeah,
that's not even close.
Yeah. That will never, ever be broken.
Cy Young, 749 complete games. Nobody's touching that. Cal Ripken Jr., 2,632 consecutive games. He had 2,600, and people are still at least 2,000 short of that. So
yeah.
That one's pretty safe.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson, career stolen bases, he's at 1,406. Nobody is even remotely close to that. Elvis Andrews, I have it, at the time of this list anyway, this has changed, but 350, that's not even close.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps, 28 Olympic medals. The active leader there is 11, the next closest to him. So,
is that Katie Ledecky? Do we have her total?
Let's see. I have, maybe this needs to be updated, but and then there's another Olympian on here, but this is for the World Gymnastics gold medals. Simone Biles has 23 of those. The next closest is 9.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, her dominance is a little not underappreciated, but it's massive.
Is anybody going to approach Barry Bonds' all-time home run record? I mean, it's still a home run hitting sport. I just wonder, can you stay healthy enough to hit that many home runs? 500 is, that's the Hall of Fame mark. You get to 500 and, unless you've used steroids or caught using steroids, then you're going to go to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Paulie.
You need to hit 50 home runs for 14 years to be in the neighborhood. Think about that.
Yeah, Paulie.
I was thinking about this because you've often said that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is underrated. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all the points records were his until LeBron showed up. Kareem played 4 years of college basketball, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if he had a couple more years of professional basketball. He scored his first couple years in the bigs, about 2,400 points per season. If he could have come in at age 19, 20, 21, so it doesn't match up apples to apples with the career scoring.
Yeah, if Kareem had come out of high school instead of going to UCLA, then you get that 4-year window that LeBron has. And he has that over just about everybody on the all-time list because Mike stayed, 3 years at North Carolina? But yeah, just some of those records. I'm sure this audience will have other ones that are unbreakable. Yes, Marvin.
Joe DiMaggio, 56-game hitting streak.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see anybody breaking that. Pete got to 44, and that was a big deal. But, the specialty of relievers now, that you're going to face somebody. I mean, everybody's throwing 100, and it's not like you're going to have a tired pitcher that you're facing. It's 5 innings, and then all of a sudden you bring in the bullpen. But, 56 games. Even getting on base in 56 consecutive games. That's not going to be we won't come close to that, I don't think. Like, we get to 30, and now you get our attention. But, is somebody going to get to 41? They're not contact hitters anymore. Back when Pete Rose was playing, you put the ball in play. And you had Wade Boggs and Rod Carew, some of these great artists here. Now, even Ichiro, as great as he was, as fast as he was, I don't know what his consecutive game streak was for hits. Yes, he.
Yeah, if you look at current, active players, home run hitters, you can't even find somebody that you can put on pace to come close. Even I think Giancarlo Stanton, he's at 429, but if you look at his sort of production rate, he's not even going to come close to Bonds. And there isn't anybody that you can put anywhere in their career like a trajectory right now that comes close.
Yeah, you're hitting 762 home runs. Hank Aaron had 755. Babe had 714. Pujols is there, 703? Just not going to happen. By the way, Justin Verlander turned 42 last month. Is that right, Todd?
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Here's LeBron James talking about 50K.
The first thing that comes to my mind is like where I'm from, and just picking up the game when I was a little kid, and just having a love for the sport, and was hoping that someday I'd be able to play at the highest level, and I've been able to do that and really enjoy it. Really enjoy my career. So it's definitely an honor. It's pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, it is. It's remarkable. I feel honored to be able to have chronicled his entire career. And be there when he was in the NBA Finals. Be there when he won an NBA title. Couple NBA titles. Was there for all of Michael's NBA titles. And, that's what you want to be part of history. You want to watch history. And I was able to do both. And LeBron is an incredible player. No matter what you say about LeBron, you have to almost put a period at the end of the sentence. You can't put a comma or a semicolon or whatever grammar, because the next thing you're going to say is he better than Michael? Could he be Michael? What's he need to do to be better than Michael? This is one of those, he reminds us now. When you get to a certain level, like Giannis has to remind us sometimes how great he is. Even though he's great, he has to remind us. I think he had a triple-double last night. Joker. That you get to that level and you're like, okay. And LeBron is reminding us almost on a nightly basis. And the fact that they're in the mix. They are truly in the mix to be a championship contender. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, if they play defense, and sometimes that's a big if, you stay healthy and you play defense. Now you've got everybody's attention. It's like Golden State has changed because of Jimmy Butler. And watching last night, Jimmy Butler might not have a great game, but he takes care of the ball. He shoots free throw. Like, he does things where you go, okay. I mean, you really have to keep an eye on what he does, because Steph is so charismatic, so dramatic. And you can't take your eyes off of him. Jimmy Butler, you do take your eyes off of him, but then all of a sudden you'll see stats and you'll go, oh, okay. And he plays defense. These are little things that will mean a whole lot in a couple of months. Yes, Marvin.
And the thing about LeBron is he's almost like Tiger Woods, where this was the expectation. Like, when we saw him as a high school junior, you were expected, if he had Joe Johnson's career, we would consider him to be a bust. Yeah. You know how crazy that sounds?
Yeah.
People would kill to have Joe Johnson's career. But he had to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest player ever, for us to say, all right, you're worth the hype. Like, he's the one guy that probably lived up to the hype more than any other player.
Well, he put the spotlight on him, on himself. But then Sports Illustrated put him on the cover as well. And then all of a sudden things changed. Like Bryce Harper, when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at, 15? Now, I think, was it Tom Verducci who did a cover story on him? And who did was it Grant Wall who did the cover on LeBron? That story. So now all of it's changed. Now all of a sudden you're part of the sports world vernacular. Now everybody knows you. Now they're waiting for you. And what he did in Cleveland with those teams, just to get to the finals against the Spurs, is to me a Herculean effort. There's a couple of teams like Iverson with the Sixers. Like, you just go, how did he get them to here? And with LeBron and that team, now granted the Spurs were, that's an all-time team, but just the fact that he got them there, that to me is as impressive as any of his titles that he won, because he took that team to an NBA Finals. Yeah, Paulie.
And after LeBron Sports Illustrated tried it again a few times. They'd put a high school kid and say, is this the next LeBron? Jabari Parker out of Chicago and others. And it became the measuring stick, like you said.